This is Total Babble. Total Babble. It's a show about music, pop culture, social media, movies, the internet, relationships, TV, whatever. Total Babble. The Total Babble Podcast.
Giddy up, motherfuckers! Welcome back to another amazing installment of whatever this is.
Well, there we go. I'll just start it out there. You starting out the show. If you ever want to start out the show, just mention it. I just do it because I usually do it, and that's a good way to do it. She's Emily, I'm Stu. And I will start by saying that my big social media post this week was wrong president, Cancer. People have problems with that. That bothers a lot of people. I'm implying that Cancer got the wrong president, and somebody replied and was very upset by that. And I said, is that worse than Don Jr. blaming Jill Biden for not finding the cancer in Joe? Is it different than that personal attack? And I feel like it is different than that. And also, I had a friend that died of cancer, so I feel like I'm allowed. It's kind of like the N-word. I'm allowed to comment on these things because I'm a member of that club. So if that kind of statement bothers you, then you can just move along is how I feel about it. How about you? Would that bother you? Had you read that?
Not really, because there's a lot of things that I read on the internet that are sketchy at best.
Right.
And whether I agree with it or otherwise, generally I don't let that sort of thing get to me. I reserve my outrage for things that actually affect me.
There you go. That's an idea. That's a way you can go. And I think that's absolutely valid and worth considering for, the entire population. We could go with that option.
Imagine being so, bored, lonely, unemployed, that's what you do is just rage at people on the internet.
Yeah, that's like so many of those people. And I have made a conscious effort that I'm in touch with friends less now because I'm on social media a lot less. Like I've made this pact in my head that if I post on Facebook, I'm only going to make it something that helps the world. It's going to be this bit of news on this crazy thing that Trump just did, or this thing that points people to go protest. I'm only going to try to post and do those things, and then very little. I'm not posting meaningless bullshit, and I'm not going on there at all just to read meaningless bullshit. And I told everybody, I said, I'm sorry if I miss your birthday. It's the only way I know, but I'm just not feeding the Zuckerberg beast anymore.
That is very altruistic of you.
Wow. All right. I'll find out what that is after the show.
I wish that I was as highbrow as you are. I spend a lot of time on social media just spacing out. It's like really late at night. It's almost the only time I get to myself. I work through the day and then I get to have a shower, and that is phase one.
Then you get to wave it in your maid's face. Don't forget that part.
That did happen one time after I'd been to tennis practice, and then I showered in the middle of the day.
I thought it was weekly.
And then
I thought it was every time she was there you were doing this. I'm sorry.
The house cleaner had arrived whilst I was in the shower, and she came out for a full frontal shot of me in the nude.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm so glad you reminded me of that because I hadn't been embarrassed by it for 48 hours. So that's good. Now I'm blushing.
They say never forget.
I can't. I've been to therapy to try and forget, and I can't. I'm just resigned to trying to cope. Anyway, she's in unrelated news. She still cleans our house.
Yeah, it's good. You've moved past that.
Yeah, I don't feel like I should punish her twice.
Yeah. And I also derailed you that you get through with your day, and that's when you're in the social media and
exactly. So post shower, post gym jams, hop into bed, and then just mindlessly zone out on stupid garbage on the internet. First of all, I might catch up with all the good stuff, like what are my friends doing? Blah, blah, blah. Then I will watch snippets of television shows that I would never actually watch. I could sit down with Robert, my husband, and watch like a bunch of shows that we actually like, but instead I just sit there and stare into the abyss, and often will watch a clip and then get to the end and it's not the whole clip, and I find it so angry. And so I have a whole bunch of half-told stories floating around in my brain. I'm deeply dissatisfied, and yet watch me do it again tonight. Do you know how these stories end? Do you know where?
Tragically?
Do you know where the kid ended up getting placed after they were the ginger kid in a wheelchair was removed from his parents? Did he end up going to the foster house? Did his stepdad get to keep him? Or did he go to the care facility? Where did he go, Stu? Where did
I
he
will
go?
have to research it and we'll find out. And
anyway, good times.
that leads me into TV, and I wasn't looking to take this detour, but I thought of this last night after having watched it again. Do you have Hulu? Do you have the Hulu?
One no Hulu. Yes, you do.
Okay. I'm going to almost demand that you and the husband sit down and watch a movie called Palm Springs. And that is Andy Samberg from Saturday Night Live. And this actress I've been raving about forever, Kristen Milioti. She was in The Penguin. Remember, I was raving about her in The Penguin. Very different role. I'm going to almost demand that you guys watch this movie. It's a quick 90 minutes. It moves so fast, and you'll get to the end and you'll go, wow, that is so much better than it had to be, and so good. And also, she is perhaps the best new actress on the planet because she's so different in this than she was in The Penguin, and she's like my new favorite, and I think everybody should partake in her. But really, this movie, Palm Springs, is great. It's a fun comedy, very clever. There's some creative scientific stuff going on there, but it's not heady. It's really great. Check this movie out, I'm telling you.
Okay, I'm going to check it out. It looks like something I would be into because I love Andy Samberg, by the way. One of my favorite movies of all time is Hot Rod.
Wow. You do like to admit stuff on the show. You are bearing your soul.
Yeah, I like to party. Cool beans. Yeah, I love that show so much. It tickles me.
She is almost distractingly good. It's almost like you go, she shouldn't be that good because it's distracting me. I'm just going to say that. I think I love her.
Is it a little bit like Groundhog Day and like 50 First Dates?
It is, because you pulled up the synopsis, obviously. And yep, it's kind of like Groundhog Day in a fun, edgy way. It's very edgy in the comedy area.
Edging into comedy.
There you go. You want to edge your comedy.
Yeah, that's what they say in Cosmo.
Yeah. Remember how I really hate Guitar Center?
No.
Like, and Best Buy, Guitar Center and Best Buy, both of them have always been terrible. But then Orange Guitar Center was okay, the city of Orange, because I found Hannah and she was helpful.
Yeah, I was about to say it's not all guitar centers because not all guitar centers are created equal. You had that one-time good Hannah experience.
Right. It's now almost all Guitar Centers because I had some gear that I wanted to sell. I have a microphone that I don't use anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm out selling heroin now. And actually a pair of small speakers, studio monitors, and I had a microphone that I'm not using. So I'm like, it's in my closet. I might as well go sell it. Well, they all take used gear, but you call and none of them do it on the weekend. They only do that Monday through Friday, many of them, which is so convenient for the customer, and they all suck. So I call back the one in Orange that I had a good experience with, and it turns out Hannah quit 3 weeks ago. So the good person there in Orange is gone. We miss you, Hannah. So I talked to somebody there and I go there to sell the stuff. And I will say not a horrible experience overall, but I tapped into a whole different thing that I think what I need to do is handle Guitar Center's marketing for them. We need an edict at all the stores and I need to handle their marketing because here is my story. The guy who is a good guy, I'm going to start by saying that, very presentable and likable and nice guy, but listen to this. He's checking out my stuff and he's looking at the speakers. Yeah, checking out my gear, the undercarriage. And he goes, boy, these speakers, not a lot of calls for these. Yeah, I can only give you like $90. I'm like, okay. And then he gets to the mic and he goes, this guy, boy, he's clean. He's really in great shape. I can give you $210. He's. Why would you go with he's? It's like these people in the YouTube videos that make the tech reviews and they go, this guy's got a lot of headroom right here. And they're giving and they call it a guy. But this guy, boy, he's clean. He's really in great shape. I'm going to give you $210. I'm like, ugh. And this is me. And I'm really trying just to bite my tongue because I don't want to say something because the guy's going to hand me $300. So we go through the process and I get fingerprinted. They fingerprint you in case you're stealing stuff. And then as I'm leaving, get this, I'm walking away from him and he goes, don't worry, We'll give them a really great home. Oh. My inanimate objects that you're buying from me, you're going to give them a good home. It's like they're in foster care. You're not going to sell them to somebody. You're going to give them a really good home. It was so much douche and so much used car salesman from a guy that genuinely seemed like a nice guy. I couldn't take it. Your thoughts, because I don't get from your face that you're necessarily with me on this.
No, it's not that. I am with you. I think that's
Okay.
weird as fuck.
Okay.
And it would have given me the ick as well. However, maybe he's a musician. Maybe he's one of those people that like personifies their shit. I put them in the same category as people who give their cars names. I've never named a car. Weird. But people who have, say, a guitar that they're really into or a saxophone that that give a name to, or it's just this really special piece to them, right? If he is one of those people, or if he's used to dealing with people like that, he might be treating you how he thinks you want to be treated. Which, 10 points for effort, but still weird.
I just was waiting for finger guns at that point. That would have been the next thing, bring out the finger guns. And when I rebrand Guitar Center, it's going to have the Guitar Center logo, and it's going to say Guitar Center. No more douchery from our sales associates. That's going to be the whole marketing campaign, which is good prices. Oh, and they could occasionally have the stuff that you want to buy in store. I've tried to go and get stuff from there, and they just don't have it anymore. And I'm surprised they're still in business because they don't have the stuff to sell. And it's always, well, we can order it for you. Well, if you're going to do that, I could get it from Amazon or just order it from you myself. I'm not going to do that. Give me the stuff I want.
Give me the stuff I want. You don't check if it's in store before you go in?
Well, that's the thing. When I've gone to the Lake Forest store that can suck my ass, every time I've gone in there, and that has happened actually since the last time we talked, I've gone in there and it says they have it in stock and they don't have it. And I even called Lake Forest. I needed a new cloud lifter. It's a thing that amplifies the mic signal. And I called them and I said, do you have it in stock? And some girl answered and she said, yes. And I said, do you really have it in stock? Every time I show up there, you don't have stuff. She goes, hang on. She comes back and she goes, yes, we have it. I show up and what's your guess?
They sold it to someone just before you got there.
They just didn't even have it at all. And I yelled and screamed because at that point I said, I really tried to do business with you people and you just suck. So anyway, I should be in charge of everything is how I feel.
Would you have liked it more or less if he finger blasted you before you left?
Wait, how are you defining finger blast? Finger guns and finger blast are a little bit different.
Oh, are they different? Are they different?
Oh, yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I've got exams coming up, I'm very sure.
I was just trying to make you laugh.
And you did. So I also...
imagine if sort of English wasn't our first language or for one of us. I love how you could say something, but the literal translation of it really depends on context, right? So you could have, I'm making finger guns right now, so you could be like finger blasting. Like finger blasting means something completely different. And check this out. Check the difference out between this. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. Or, sorry, Daddy, I've been naughty.
But depending on the relationship that you have with your priest, that could be the same, though.
I mean, maybe.
We've heard the reports.
But I just think it's so funny. English is a fantastic language for these reasons.
Well, and then you just set me down a different road, too.
Uh-huh.
If you see videos of like really uppity kind of guys in other lands talking about stuff in other languages, if they get really fired up, do they do the finger guns? Like, would you see like a used car salesman in like Ethiopia or something going and doing the finger guns? Would that be a thing?
I don't think so, no.
Maybe it's based on our culture of guns and violence.
Maybe.
And the Wild West and cowboys, maybe.
Perhaps. Yeah, I've never received finger guns in another country.
Do you have them in Australia at all? Does anybody finger guns?
Yeah, but ironically, satirically,
With a smile, that kind of, hey, I'm screwing with you here thing. Hey, okay, I get you.
And it actually comes from, do you know who the Wiggles are?
Children's show?
Correct.
All
So
right.
the Wiggles are one of the biggest children's acts of all time, originating out of Australia. Funnily enough, they were originally a rock band called the Cockroaches, didn't make it. Turned into this children's traveling show.
I was going to say, I think there's a tour, right?
Yeah, went off like a frog in a sock. Now they've aged out. It's a massive franchise. They've got all different Wiggles. The original were like the red, yellow, blue, and purple Wiggle.
And there was a pink
Wiggle
Power Ranger.
originally was Jeff.
Yeah.
And Jeff's whole thing was that he had narcolepsy. And so Jeff would always be falling asleep at the most inopportune times. He'd be like, and then all the kids have to scream, "Wake up, Jeff." Anyway, it was a good time. Wiggles, good times. Anyway, the Wiggles do finger guns like this. And that is where a lot of Aussies get finger guns from.
And that was before it went off like a frog in a sock.
No, it's while it was going off like a frog in a
sock. That
Yeah.
point. Okay, I'm with you. Got it.
Yeah.
So I also realized I didn't introduce you correctly on today's show. It's Stu and Emily Navratilova doing the show this week because you're some kind of tennis star or something. You sent me pictures of you winning like a tennis award. Is that a plate? Is that a plaque?
It's a plate. We won a championship. So my tennis team and I last weekend won a championship for our women's division tennis. We played doubles and it was really exciting. It was really, really great.
It's a cool looking plate and you were very excited. The only thing I had trouble with was you sent me a picture and there's lots of women with sunglasses that look like you. And I'm trying to figure out which one you are. And I'm like, holy crap, how many Rose Byrnes are there out there? And I couldn't quite, and I think I know which one was you. And congratulations, first off.
Well, thank you. You really don't know which one's me?
Were you being held sideways in that one picture? Were they holding you?
No, this is me. That's me in the photo. The one.
Okay,
to the
that
left
was
of
my
the
other
feet.
guess. Because you all just need to stop wearing sunglasses and looking like each other.
We all look the same. So
Or put names on your shirts. One of the two.
Yeah, we should. I should have just put like Emily on the bottom.
That's a cool
me.
picture. Yeah. And then do you eat off that plate or do you just save and cherish it?
No, in fact, we giggled about that.
Yeah.
And by we, I mean my sons and I. It's made of pewter. And so if you eat off it, it's likely you'll die. In medieval times, people thought that tomatoes were poison. They're not. They would just absorb the poison from the pewter plates that they were being served on.
Does it say that on the pewter plate? Does it give you a warning not to eat off of it?
No.
I think you have a lawsuit then, potentially, if anything ever goes bad.
It's decorative, though. It says City Champions 2025.
All right.
I don't know. Anybody who's eating off it is a moron and probably deserves to die.
Or wants to just get sick and then sue the pewter people to make some money.
Oh, that would be top shelf American.
Yeah.
You know how you're always sharing stories about how you're like, oh, I was so dumb when I did this. I have an instance of where I was really dumb. Do you want to hear?
Many days dumb. Today, Emily is going to tell us she was this many days dumb when.
It is not quite a this many days dumb, but it's just I'm a dumb fuck. So here it is. So we're playing this tennis match, and we've been playing for months, right? We've finally reached the pinnacle. All of our families are there. We've got fans. It's a big deal. And there's a huge crowd, and people are just appearing. And anyway, we're getting quite late on in the second set. We are absolutely annihilating these people, by the way. And I'm serving. And people are like gasping and clapping and everything as we're playing these games. Anyway, I do a final serve and then they do the return, but they shank it and they hit it out. And everyone goes fucking nuts. Important thing to know here is in this moment, I had lost count. I'm serving. That's literally my fucking job. And I'd lost count and didn't realize that we had won the game. So there's a huge delayed reaction. My partner turns around and she's like, we did it. And she's jumping up and down. And I was like, oh, was that it? Like, and I'm thinking, did we win the game? She's like, yeah. And then I start thinking, oh, we're going to change ends. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Is that set? Is that the match? And she's like, yeah. I was like, yay, we were jumping up and down. I didn't realize that we were playing for the game, the set, the match, and the championship. I thought that they were just pumped up because we won our game.
You were probably just thinking about other stuff, all the life you have going on, or did you just phase out? Or
yeah, I was so focused on just winning every point and just staying in the moment. I hadn't been watching the other courts to know who had won. So I was oblivious to knowing where we were in the overall championship. And I don't like to put myself under pressure. So I deliberately don't watch sometimes the score to know where I am.
So you don't think about it.
So I don't choke.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of pressure for someone like me who's not that good at tennis and is sort of new to it. I'm so glad I am a fuckwit. It was tense. But the cutest thing happened. Okay, so I'm on the final serve, game, set, match, championship. So I throw up the ball, hit it straight into the fucking net. Fault. Okay. My eldest son, bless him, from the bleachers. You can do it! I believe in you!
Ah.
Don't let the nerves get to you!
Which is the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah.
But then also, does it give you more nerves?
It was the sweetest thing ever. And everyone started laughing at him because of the don't let the nerves get to you. He's in his really nice way. He is being kind and he knows that that's what I need to hear in that moment. And he had to ask his dad, why did everybody laugh at me? I thought I was saying a nice thing to mommy. And he's like, well, a lot of people don't want to be reminded of how stressful this situation is and how nerve-wracking it is. It's like saying, don't think about a pink elephant, or like it's like saying, don't look down. It's not helpful to many people in that moment. So that's why they were laughing. And he was like, oh, okay.
That is the pureness of a child.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought it was very encouraging and the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah.
So, but it was really funny. Yeah.
I thought as you started that story and you got about partway through it that you were going to end it by saying that your ass was hanging out or something, and the whole crowd was looking at you, but that's not it.
Oh, no, that happened earlier.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no.
Good, I brought it up then.
I went to the bathroom beforehand because obviously I'm like nervous. I must have pooed like 3 times before I went onto the court. I was turning myself inside out. I was nervous. Anyway, I'm walking up the hill and for some random reason, I don't like being accosted in the street by someone I don't know. Some lady goes, excuse me. And she like puts her hand up and like stops me. And I'm like, yeah, can I help you? And she's like, you have toilet paper on your shoe. And I looked down and I was dragging like a 1.5 foot piece of poo ticket, like just dragging it through 20 courts of like championship tennis. There are lots of people at this place and I have a tail off my shoe of toilet paper. It was mortifying. I thanked her profusely. By the way, I walked past 3 of my own teammates before I hit this bitch and they didn't even notice. I'd made it quite a distance from the toilet and then I had a fistful of toilet paper and I didn't know what to do with it. So I had to like put it in my little skirt pocket until I could find a trash can. So that was disgusting and embarrassing. And then after we won, we're getting our professional photos taken because we're going to appear in the tennis magazine. And my husband makes a joke saying, okay, one serious one and then a topless one. Okay? Because, and then one of my teammates goes, Emily's already halfway there. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed and ashamed. Oh, it's just like my plate felt very small in that moment. I was like trying to cover up myself with my little plate.
Was there like half boob hanging out, lower boobs? What did you have going on there?
No, it's just because I was wearing a tiny, tiny top.
That's awesome.
And so they were giving me shit for wearing a tiny, tiny top. I'm a woman of a certain age. I shouldn't be wearing a tiny, tiny top. But I was like, fuck it. This is the only one I have in the color. I'm doing it. So yeah, and I still am embarrassed by that. And
whatever.
Every night I've laid down to go to sleep and those words are ringing in my head and I'm like, oh God, I'm so embarrassed. I've got to go back to tennis training tonight.
It's not as bad as walking around with like sack hanging out or something. You're fine.
That's true. Although I did have to, I get really uncomfortable undies, and when there's a huge crowd, it's very difficult to like adjust your underpants when your skirt is like when your body's trying to eat your skirt, and you got to try and pluck your undies out of your body.
That's why baseball players just do it. They just reach and grab, and dudes in general kind of just do it because it's like, who cares? I don't care.
Oh, I know.
It's more of a stigma if a woman does that. There's another injustice in our world.
I mean, there's a little bit of a stigma attached anyway, but we're not professional athletes, and no one's looking at me.
I also had notes here. I wanted to ask you, do you grunt while you play? Do you do the tennis thing? Are you really careful of that?
I do not do that.
Okay.
I have on occasion made noises.
Because I was thinking if you don't grunt while you play, you should really do that. And this is a tremendous bit idea. This is something that we can do for the show, and you can prove your commitment to the show. You just take your phone with you. You put the voice memo on and record. And then as you play, you just, and then keep the phone on and just record when people make comment on it, or just see what they're going to say. And if it doesn't happen naturally, you can do it at really weird times. Like after, if you go to get a drink with the girls, you go, yeah, I'd like an iced tea. And just do that. And do you validate parking? And, best case ever is probably in the ladies' room, and just keep it recording the whole time. And
I definitely grunt in the ladies' room.
Okay.
Like, you didn't ask me about that.
Natural then.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting that out there.
We played against some grunters, and it is disconcerting. I find it distracting.
Yeah, it's weird.
It makes me laugh. It makes me laugh so hard. This is not ranked tennis. Okay,
Right.
This is amateur beer league tennis. Okay,
It's not millions of dollars. They're giving out poison plates.
Yeah, exactly. And there are people with beer guts out here grunting, and it is the weirdest thing you've ever seen. I don't know if they think it's giving them an edge. The only edge it's giving them is the intimidation edge, because it's very hard to concentrate when someone's like, ugh.
I think when they start doing it, you should grunt back at them and just make it like a competition and kind of mock them. That would get in their head, and that would screw them up. Tactics.
You'll be proud of me. You know the bird sound?
Yeah.
I've gifted that to my entire team, and we now do that as a celebration. So if somebody makes a good point, people are like, caca!
Caca is fantastic. I love it so.
I think other animal noises other than grunts would be amazing. I think that would be
And just
so
change
good.
it up. When they grunt, you do a horse or do an elephant or... Yeah.
Serve. That would be actually amazing.
You just have to get people that would commit to it with you, and it would be the best.
I could definitely find some people who would commit to this bit.
All right.
Yeah.
On to regular show stuff here. Justin Bieber. I feel like he's going all Britney crazy. This is kind of a meaningless story, but what the hell? It has a point when I get into what I'm thinking about here. It seems like people are going into conjecture that he has some drug weirdness going on, and he puts out this weird video with this weird filter over his face and Instagram. He's all stretched and weird, and yeah, he's talking about fishing in Jesus. And I sent you a picture of what he looks like there in your outline, and I have audio of it here, and I tried to clean it up a little bit. So here's Bieber talking about fishing in Jesus, and he's definitely losing it, I think.
I was over there. I was fishing on the dock. I was, I must have been 17, 18, 19. And I mean, when I tell you I reeled them in, Bobby, I reeled them in. I was reeling in a half dozen on a good day. I don't really get in between the stuff that you got going on with, a couple of the people around you. And it's what we like to say, it's an no bueno. You've been hurt. You've been afraid. You have been shut down.
What?
But let me tell you a little something.
Oh.
G.O.D.,
God.
our boy Jesus, he's got a plan. And he works all things together for Gucci. Gucci is what we mean when we mean good. They want to be like a rat.
He's making rat noises.
Your cheese.
I just wonder, are we supposed to feel bad for him in this? I don't feel bad. I feel like this is some white boy Kanye shit. Like Kanye doing this shit, people would say he's out of his mind, he's loony, just ignore him. And to not treat Bieber the same way is racist.
I feel like Kanye's stuff is actually crazy. That just sounds like a guy who probably had a few too many drinks and was just having a rant. He started telling a story about how he used to go fishing as a kid, then got sidetracked talking about how, oh, if you're feeling bad about the world, don't worry, God has a plan for you. And he's using Gen Z slang of Gucci for good. I don't know. No red flags for me in that.
All right.
It's just like, that's
To
like
me,
every second video on the internet.
these are the signs of where these things start. And there's been other stuff with him too, where people say he's getting loony and losing his mind. And I wonder, there was some report with him in the P. Diddy thing the other day, and I didn't hear the details of that. Was he involved? Did he say he was not involved? Did you hear anything about that?
So he famously used to go to Diddy parties.
Right.
In fact, he's got lines in some of his songs that talk about it.
I wonder if he's like freaking out because there's stuff on him that's going to come out, and maybe that's part of the thing. And because of that, there's extra substance going on, which people have kind of guessed at before, and who knows.
Yeah. Well, I hope he's all right. I think there's a lot of drug and alcohol abuse in that ilk of human.
And I get that people say it's the stress of that enormous success, but I kind of don't feel bad for that. Like, give me millions of dollars and endless hot girls, and I feel like I'm going to be okay with it. I feel like I could handle it. And I almost feel like this is celebrity Darwinism. You know, some of them can handle it and some of them can't. And it's survival of the crazy fittest.
Yeah, I would not want to be famous. I think we've talked about this on the show before.
Yeah.
I would forego all of the money. I would rather be poor, anonymous, and happy than rich and famous. Gross. Worst.
Yeah, I don't care about any of the fame. I mean, if it happened, it happened. I could deal with it. And as long as I could be successful and live without worry, I'd be fine with that. And I think I would handle it okay, too. But, yeah, all right. We'll watch him, not really, and see how things go.
I hope he's okay.
And then there's this story about a barbershop owner in downtown L.A. He's got homeless people in an encampment outside his front door, and he is saying, shut the hell away from me, and he's trying to run a business. And here is a news report on how he is trying to keep the homeless people away, which I understand, but I think this is KTLA or something. You're welcome, everybody.
Mommy shark.
Okay.
So we said it. We all know this song. It's a kid's favorite, but most of us adults find it a little on the annoying side. Shalom Styles, the CEO and founder of Styles Barber Lounge, spoke with KTLA explaining why he's playing the song and his ongoing efforts to protect his shop and keep his customers both safe and comfortable. His business is located on East 11th Street here in downtown over in the Fashion District. It's been open for about 5 years and says the homeless issue is getting worse and worse. There's an encampment set up near his shop, and he never knows what he's going to find walking into work. At times it's been drugs, trash, or cracked glass because the homeless are breaking windows. Styles says he does his best to make sure the area surrounding the barbershop is
All right,
clean.
so I'll just stop it right here. I will tell you that I screwed up. There were a couple different reports on this, and I pulled the wrong one. And there was one that had an actuality of somebody out there talking to the guy. But you get the basic gist of the story, and it's working. The homeless people do not want to set up by the Baby Shark song. And how do you feel about this? I feel like I empathize with the homeless, but the guy's trying to run a business and do whatever you have to do. People are not going to want to come there if there's encampments.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't see anything wrong with him. When she said he's tried everything, I went, no, he hasn't. Murder. But I think that Baby Shark is...
You're not advocating for that. You're just saying.
I'm just saying that's a lie. That's
Right.
all that I'm saying.
Right.
Maybe he has tried murder, but nobody knows about it. But I do think that Baby Shark could put people into a murderous rage. But I do empathize with him. One of my first jobs out of university, I worked in a big building that was not in a great part of town. And to get into the building in the morning, you had to go around the back and go in through a back door. And it was undercover. And so homeless people used to build their houses in there at nighttime in front of the door. And it reeked of piss because for some reason, they wouldn't go away from where they were sleeping to urinate. They would just do it there. And it would happen all the time where I would show up for work in the morning and there would be loads of homeless people in front of the door for me to try and get and unlock this building for everyone else who would go in through the front. And so it's scary and it's gross. And for people who work in retail, like that individual does, because he's got a barbershop, you don't want people to have to quite literally step over a body that stinks of urine to get a haircut. Now, again, I do empathize and sympathize with the plight of the unhoused population, but it's not good for them to be impacting on this man's business in that way.
I mean, that's exactly it, is you feel bad for these people, and many of them have mental issues and they need therapy and they need help in that regard. And some of them just need to get back on their feet. And I'm empathetic to all of that. But for the average person going through life, none of that matters. The bottom line is that they can't conduct a business with that around, and the customers coming in are not going to go there with that coming around. And for lack of a better word, we need to take care of the regular people in our society that are trying to get through life. And if you look at it from a very cut and dry place, we are the people that are subsidizing and taking care of these people through taxes, and we need to look out for ourselves so that we don't end up homeless. This guy could not have a barber shop in 2 months because of all the homeless people, and then he's going to end up homeless. And that's a weird extrapolation to make, but it can happen. And I'm all for finding something to help these people, but in that process, we have to get them out of here. And yes, we should help them, but we have to get them out of here.
We have to get them out of here. I've got an idea. I've got an alternative to Baby Shark. It's just come to me.
Alrighty.
You know when you go to the grocery store and the little song plays and then the misters turn on, the water comes out to mist the vegetables?
Yeah.
What about if we set that up? Oh, it's you know what time it is. Emily and Stu's homeless Mr. Business.
Oh.
Do you have a homeless problem? Let us help you with our magical people misters. It's just water. Every 20 minutes, it just sprays just a gentle, maybe a little bit more than gentle. I'm not talking like fire hose, Geneva Convention breaking levels of water, but just a light misting. No one wants to hang around at the front of your business and get saturated every 20 minutes, but it would be clean out the front all the time. It'll look like you just hosed off. So there you go. Emily and Stu's Mr. That can be the name of our business. Mr.
I'm not against you, but I feel like this is going to be met with public outcry and the public will not respond well to it. They're trying to hose people down is what they're going to say. I don't think that that's the case. I think you make a good point. I don't think it's going to be met well.
Well, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Come and stand out the front of our shop? Get fucking misted?
Okay, you stand here and counsel them then. Let's handle it that way.
We're not misting people. It's like that episode of The Simpsons where Lisa is just like, I'm going to start swinging my arms and walking towards you, and if you get in the way, that's on you. That is what's happening with Mr. Mister. We are simply spraying our property and keeping it clean. If you put your body in the way, then choices have been made.
Good point. We put up the signs that say periodic automatic misting happens here. If you get wet, you choose to do so by your own volition.
It's got like going on Splash Mountain at Disney.
Yeah.
You know what you're in for. So if you want to get splashed, you can come into the splash zone.
I still feel like it's going to piss people off, but whatever.
Especially
pissing
with
people off on a regular
misted.
basis.
And I think that's the point.
All right. Well, our services are available for so many things. Everybody
Anyway,
out there. I want you to know.
555,
Yeah.
Mister.
Yeah. Actually, what is our real number? Hang on. Let me go up here. 818-570-0753 for the Babble. 818-570-0753.
Yeah, keep me honest. Who wants Mr. to be a reality? Come on. Make it happen.
Go into business with us. We're taking investors.
Taking investors. Yeah.
Getting towards the end, I would like to just play this. Nothing really special tied into anything else, but it's a comedian named Dean Del Rey, who I kind of know. He's on a lot of podcasts. I guess he has a new stand-up special out. It's called 5836. This is fun and edgy, and we like fun and edgy, and he makes good, funny points here. This is him talking about going to an Elton John show, Dean Del Rey.
We pull in, Elton's playing the T-Mobile Arena, right? And we park, we walk up. Now, this is a different time in America. Not too long ago, we couldn't even get together like this. Remember? You would have to show vaccine cards. Were you guys into that? I say fuck that. I think we should have went further. I think you should have had to show your voter ballot. Let's find out what kind of piece of shit you really are. Or you get up to the front door, they're like, all right, let's take a look here. Says you voted against gay marriage. No Elton John for you tonight. Also says you didn't support Black Lives Matter, so no NBA finals ever. Just preseason only, you racist piece of shit. Because I know there were homophobes in that Elton John concert that voted against gay marriage, denying Elton of his pleasures. That's why I think Elton John should have had 2 naked men fucking the entire concert. Sideways, too, so you can just see the pipe going in. Right, just up there like, Rocket Man! And the homophobes are like, just play Tiny Dancer. This shit is gay.
So there's that, Dean Del Rey. I guess the special is 5836. I'm going to look more into that because I like that stuff. That's good.
I think you make some good points.
Yep. How do you feel about the voting thing? Should we open it up more or really make sure that people are qualified to vote?
Talk more about that?
Well, do you think that we need to screen people better to make sure that people are citizens and make them show ID? Or do you think we open it up to anybody in the country and if you're here, you vote? How do you feel about that?
I advocate for people who are citizens of this country being able to vote. And I think, like anything that's important, you should have to prove you are who you say you are. So some form of identification. Now, to register to vote, you have to be a citizen. You have to prove something, I'm pretty sure. And then I think when you go to do your vote, I haven't voted before, by the way, because I only just became a citizen. So I'm excited to get to vote. But in my home country, you register to join the electoral roll. And then whenever you go to vote, you give them your name, your date of birth, and you show them your driver's license.
Right. I'm pretty far to the left. I'm left kind of center sometimes as we talk about. And I look at it and I think, okay, logically, we want only our citizens voting, and that's the way to go. But then also there are those that say that people use that as a means of voter suppression and they try to keep people away. And that is the way that minorities and big groups of people in our community do not get the opportunity to vote. So I kind of still lean towards you need to show ID and be registered. But then I also think of that other part of it. And if they can use it to screw us, how do we fix that? How do we handle it? And I don't know that I have a really good answer. I'm just bringing it up for talk.
There are a lot of citizens who are eligible to vote who fall into those minority groups. The challenge that we have is that people who are entitled to vote don't register and don't show up.
Yeah.
If more of the people showed up and took their civic responsibility seriously and cared about it, we'd have more of an accurate representation of what the country wants to vote for. But so many people just quite literally don't show up. They don't prioritize it, and they don't think that it's important. If you really want to make a difference, make it mandatory for every person over the age of 18. You have to vote, and that you get a fine if you don't vote. That'll make a huge difference. And then the government will have to make sure that everybody has access to voting facilities. They'll need to make sure that every school is turned into a voting center, all of that sort of stuff. And I think that then we would have more accurate elections.
I blame that last election on people that didn't vote and other groups, and especially young groups, that didn't think that Harris had quite what they needed, and they were voting for Trump because he was going to save TikTok or whatever lame thing he told them that they bought and believed. And that's what bothers me.
How cool is that jet, though?
Oh, yeah. Now it's coming out that he didn't even get it as a gift, that he asked for it. He saw it and he said, I would like to have that and I want that. And that is a story that I saw in Yahoo yesterday. That, yeah, he's fucking mentally deranged, and we've gone down that road so many times. Anyway, that'll be our show.
Ta-da!
I've got a great outro as usual. Show done.
Finn. This should be like a foreign film. We need a leitmotif. We need a little musical bit at the end. Almost like, you know, when you're a kid and you listen to those audiobooks and it's like the trill, turn the page. We need some sort of musical bit that's just like, wah, wah, show done.
And here's the culture I have. Right when you said that, I thought, Finn, what the hell does that have to do with ending? And then I remembered, oh yeah, it's like French or something. So everyone have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Okay, you know how this goes. Like us, subscribe, tell your friends, write a nice review, engage with us. We're Total Babble on Instagram, on Facebook, on Threads, and on Blue Sky. Email is show@totalbabble.com. The Total Babble Podcast.
Yeah, I like to party. Cool beans.